Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today my name is Andy. We are back with NXTGEN Racing action from the V8 Supercar Championship. It is round 5. We are in Portimao, the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve in the south of Portugal. This area famous for fishing and shipbuilding, but as of 2008, a 2.915 FIA Grade 2 track was opened, costing $250 million. The track has hosted World Superbikes, FIA GT touring cars and even F1 testing in late 2008, and today will host the thunderous V8 Ford Falcon Supercars from our sim racing stars. Now today's event is going to take place on the alternative track. You will see it through the race itself. So into turn 1 we're going to take a tighter look into turn 1 into the chicane rather than the normal turn 1. Instead of turning into turn 6 hairpin, we're going to take the earlier turn off there. And then before the end of the lap, instead of heading to the tight hairpin, we're going to take a double left-hander instead. And then the final turn is not the continuous left-hand curve. It's going to be 2 into 1. You will see as it goes along. It does mean that the replay cams, though, are not going to be able to stick with us the whole way through, however. But let's get to the grid itself and have a look through the runners and riders today. And on pole position, it is the 28 machine of Boy Raxer. Took up a podium place in the last time out, second in the championship behind Shadow with just 7 points between them heading into today's race. And I've hit the wrong button, so we'll ignore that there. And he'll be hoping to continue his good run and try to stay ahead of his championship rival, who, speaking of, is just behind in P2, that number 8 machine of the Irishman. And he will again be hoping for a fantastic start that he got. He led from lights to flag last week in Fuji, and he'll be hoping to do more of the same again if he can get the run down the hill into turn 1. Third on the grid, his fellow WRT colleague Edu, the championship coordinator in the 29 extra machine. The Spaniard pretty close to home here, and we will be heading to his home location next time round. Although whether coverage will be available remains to be seen. I will come to that. But it does mean that obviously he is hoping for a good result here before he heads home. Fourth in the grid, last season's champion, NGR Scooby G, not having it his own way this year in the BritGen 34 machine, so he's needing a good result here to try and take down those two in the front of the grid and at the front of the championship before they start disappearing over the horizon. Fifth in the grid, the 43 machine of Slider Gas got caught up with a few mistakes last time in Fuji, dropped him down the field, including a first lap incident as well, so we're hoping to avoid that hassle this time round. And sixth on the grid, with a much better qualifying performance this time, is Vidakas in the 44 machine, and he will be hoping to stay out of trouble and try and climb the championship today. Seventh is that familiar number 1 machine of RS Jim, always a championship regular, mainstay and consistent performer, and despite the fact that the newcomers mean he's shuffled back down the grid a couple of spots, he's still right up there as one of the fastest on the grid. Radovan's back again in the number 15 Cash Show machine. Last week he was again caught up in the first corner melee at Fuji, which involved Slider and Andy further back, and he finished pretty much at the back of the field because of that almost, so we'll be hoping to avoid hassle today into what is an extremely tight turn 1. Ninth place on the grid, get the alarms out because the Lager Fanny himself is back on the grid after a bit of an absence. Good to see the 33 machine back on the grid, and he'll be hoping to make a good performance on his return to the V8 Supercar Championship. It's good to have him back on the grid as well. 10th and rounding out the top 10, 38 machine is Ben Sully, again looking for moving up the grid. Always a good chance of seeing him in the top 5. Definitely a competitive performer and definitely capable of springing a surprise or two towards the front. 11th is Andy, myself in the number 12 machine, and I'll just be hoping to stay out of trouble basically. That's all I was hoping for in this race, and despite due to a very limited amount of practice. 12th in the grid was quite a surprise to see the 77 machine of Whitford, who comes into this in 6th place in the championship, just 7 points behind Jim. Usually around about that sort of top 5, 6, 7 on the grid, and finds himself down in unfamiliar territory in 12th, so we're hoping for avoiding trouble at the start and to get up the grid very quickly. 13th is the 7 machine of Ropsky, who will be hoping to get ahead of perennial rival Andy just ahead of him in their continuous scrap that those two always seem to have, and gain a few championship points to get up the table. And last on the grid is Shockshaft in the 09 machine this week, as he's changed liveries, giving it a wee change and just deciding to have a wee look around at what suits, and he'll be hoping to stay out of trouble and make up some places today. Those are your runners and riders for 20 laps round the Algarve circuit. Let's take it to the track side and let's take it back to the lights. They are on and they are off. That's a good start from the pole sitter. It looks like Vidica's got a good run there on the outside already. Jumps Scooby, who's on another poor start similar to last week. And Shadow diving right down the inside into turn 1. You can see it's very tight as they go into the chicane part instead this time round. And once again you can see that the timing is screwed again, so thank you very much. Project Car's got a spinner in the background. That looks like it is Whitford. It is indeed. Whitford is off already. As you can see, Shockshaft just coming through the back there. And we'll skip back through to the front. We can see Slider Gas challenging there on Scooby G and passing him as well, I think it is. Yes, it is indeed, but he goes sliding wide through the turn 6 hairpin, and the cones fly everywhere for the first time through there. But back to the front, it is Shadow leading from Boy Raxer. That is not the start the pole sitter wanted here today, as they come up and over the hill, and Edu getting on the grass already, coming down the hill, and they come back up and over on the brakes. Very hard braking point here from the drone camera. Brilliant view over the hills, down the hill one more time. Very difficult track here, and again this is where one of the cameras is going to be a bit difficult. As you can see, they've taken the cut off there rather than following it right round, just for a little bit of a different track difference here as well. And coming round to the end of the lap, we'll just stick with the lead 2 here to show you the last part, which is just, instead of coming down here, we cut right through there and back onto the main straight. So you will see a few camera cuts which I cannot control, but I'll try to keep you up with things as we go along. End of the first lap as cars fly along. It is Shadow leading from Raxer. Edu is in 3rd. We've got Slider at 4th. Vida's in 5th. Scooby dropped down to 6th, and Jim is in 7th. And he is being followed along there. Oh no, we've got Jim sideways, locking the brakes up sideways into turn 1. He's going to lose a few places there, I believe. So we're just going to drop back and let's see where he is. He's only lost the 1, I think, to Ben, so it's not too bad for him. So he's only down to 8th now, as it is. So only losing the 1 place there. Just behind them is Radovan, and then we've got Lager in 9th, we've got Andy 10th at the moment. He's been followed by Whitford in 11th, Ropsky's in 12th, Shockshaft in 13th. I believe I've got everyone. What's happened to Shockshaft? He's off the track, didn't expect that one there. I think Shockshaft is the last car on track, so we've got Shockshaft, Ropsky, Whitford chasing Andy down, so that's 12th. I think the Andy's actually in 11th, so it's going to be tricky again to keep up with the timings, considering they're screwed again. There's Ben, he's already up the order, he's about 7th at the moment. Lovely drone shot, you can see the leaders just up ahead, and Scooby's got back past Vida already, so he's making up places as he tries to catch back up. 2 leaders and Jim right round the outside there, off Ben into the second part. Has he got him? Yes, he has. Thank you very much to the camera angle for the cut-off, but hey, that's just how it goes. The camera wasn't designed for that, and a brilliant move from the number 1 machine on lap 2 to take the place back. But we're going to jump back to the front of the field, just finding them. There they are on the front straight. Look at these two, still nose to tail as they cross the line for the end of the 3rd lap, but jumping back. Scooby's looking to have a go at Slider. Is he going to have a go into turn 1? It's heavy on the brakes. Not going for it this time. Slider Gas able to keep a hold of it there. Sorry, that's Vida actually in the 44 machine. It's Slider Gas that he's actually got past through towards turn 10 and 11 last lap round. So it's Shadow from Raxor, Edu in third, Vida in fourth, Scooby in sixth, Slider Gas in sixth, and then we've got Jim in seventh and Ben Sully is eighth. There we are there. Just going to work the order out real quickly. Radovon in ninth, NGR Lager in 10th, Whitford's now up to 11th, Vandy's down to 12th, Ropsky 13th, and we've got Shockshaft in 14th place. So look at these three up ahead. There we go. Just going to jump onto Radovan. Lager looking at Ben there. I'm not going to try it through that quick hand, the right-hander. It's a third gear corner and then heavy braking towards the uphill right-hander. So stick with these two for the moment. I really wish we had the timing so I could see who's close to where and keep up with the action as much as possible. I'm going to try and use the camera angles. Edu, Scooby still having a go at Vida. I think we're going to go and jump back to that for now, see what's going on. There we are. Edu's quite slow. He's actually losing a bit of ground here. Vida looks like he might just have an attack here on the Spaniard. Coming up to the end of the lap. We're obviously going to lose a bit of the camera angle here once again, which is obviously annoying, but what can you do? Don't want to keep jumping between in-car and out-car just for the sake of that, but there you go. You need to sometimes, but we shall see. A couple of cars running really towards the pit wall on the way out. That curb just spits you really far out as you come away into turn one, and a lot of issues here. This corner so tight as you come into it. This is one of the reasons for picking the alternative layout. Something very different to the standard layout on the game. Makes it for a very different challenge for the driver. Scooby a bit there in the sideways, holds it together, gets him a good run up the hill coming up through turn 4 I think that is, and Vida's got a run on Edu coming up towards turn 5 and 6. Late on the brakes. Can he make it though? No, Edu's going to have the place back, but can he get on the power? It's going to be a dash down to the next corner, but Edu's got it. Scooby's now got the run in the racing line, but Vida's got the inside line for the corner. Can Scooby hold round the outside? Late on the brakes. Vida's going to hold on. Slider Gas going to try and stick his nose up the inside there. Scooby's found himself in the middle of a sandwich of blue, white and red as he comes through the fast left-hander up the hill, hard on the brakes, back on the drone cam. The leader's just up ahead. You can see they're nose to tail still, and Scooby's through both. Scooby's got past them. He's just sneaked up the inside there. Lovely move from the championship, defending champion, from last season, and he has got through there. Unbelievable. Didn't quite see that coming. Just got through under braking at that tricky double apex corner. And he is through and up back into 4th place. He's now going to chase down Edu as they come down the hill. But here we are back at the front. Look at these two. Still nose to tail. Lap 5, Shadow and Raxor. So far this season I've not really seen any racing action where these two haven't been pretty close to each other within a few seconds, and it's just showing just how close these two drivers are on track. It's going to be hard to break away from these two, but I'm trying to keep up with everybody as much as I can. I'm going to just cut back camera out. Here we go. Scooby's looking at Edu. Jim's got himself back through and ahead of Slider Gas as well, so that is another place for the number 1 machine. Radovan now has both Ben and Lager through as well, so Radovan down 2 places as well, so that puts him on the cusp of the top 10, although Lager running really wide there, as does Radovan. So we've got Shadow, Raxor, Edu, Scooby, Vida, Jim, Slider. Now we've got Ben, Lager and Radovan. That's your top 10. We've then got Andy, Ropsky and Shockshaft at the back, and you can see Andy and Ropsky coming over. These two are never too far apart either from last season and this season as well. Up and over a hill, down the hill again. A lot of drivers have described this as a bit of a roller coaster, almost like an old school track, a bit like a Nürburgring or Spa where you're always up and down. Look at the 3rd, 4th, in fact Scooby's ahead of Edu. There you go, Scooby has got ahead of Edu. That is a change of position for the last step on the podium. Can he go after that lead pair at all? The speed difference so far, it'd be hard to see how, but we shall see. These two are doing 42.8. Look at that, 42.878, 42.881. There is nothing between them, and you can literally see it on the road. Unbelievable. We're actually going to watch this lead pair for a moment. Just keep an eye on the defending and the attacking from them both. Lap 6 here at the Algarve circuit in Portugal. This action takes place on Tuesday night. You are watching as live coverage, watching this back live, first time watch, commentating it as I see it. And if you do want to join in, look below in the description. There will be links to the Facebook page. You can join up. Championship is pretty full at the moment, but there is no harm in joining up as a filler, and there will usually be spots coming up during the season, even if it is just for the odd race now and again. That may turn into a more regular position as the season goes on. We've got one more race next week in Barcelona before the season break, and then we return with the double points from the home of V8's Bathurst. Down the hill, Shadow running a bit wide there in that double apex. He's able to use his braking and position the car in the apex. And he holds on to the position very well indeed through there. And I think these two are going to be basically following each other like this for most of the race. Scooby's managed to get himself a little bit of a gap over Edu, so that's 3rd and 4th. And we've got Vida is the car in 5th place. That was Edu on the grass as well. You can see his brake lights are blinking as well. So we've got Vida in 5th, Slider 6th, we've got Jim in 7th. And if we jump back a bit, I think Ben's dropped down the field. By the looks of it, what's happened? We've got to change the order about here, so let's just figure out. And he's got himself up the order here somehow. Let's have a look. Yep, Andy's up the order, so we've got Slider, Vida, Jim, Radovan's back, Lagar's in here as well. Yes, so Andy's jumped all this, so something's going on. Andy's managed to jump up quite a number of places. He's now got this train of cars behind him. Andy, Lagar, Radovan, Ben and Ropsky. Shockshaft is somewhere in the distance, and Andy leads this train here. Going forward, so he has managed to get himself ahead. Whitford has disconnected, so he's now looking up to space thinking he's part of NASA, as has Shockshaft. So we've only got 12 runners now, and Andy is at the head of this leading this tail field. You can see Scooby there over a hill in the distance. So this is 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th we're looking at here. So this is for the battle for the top tail end of the top 10, and it is led by the Scotsman at the moment. So we've missed that obviously. Number of changes, because Andy was in 11th or 12th at one point. I wonder if the disconnections had anything to do with that, who knows. But come up to the double apex, tricky braking point to get right, down the hill, little bit of a slide from the number 12, and then around here, tricky braking point for this corner as well. And Lagar, you can see Radovan there having a go at Lagar, but unable to do so. And we're going to stick with this battle for a wee moment, I think. It's hard to tell where to look, as I say, without the gaps, so it's really frustrating. Can't decide where to look, but we are going to follow this for just a moment. Andy running very wide, just getting a little bit sideways there. The extra runoff does help though. And there we go, camera picks up. So we're going to follow here because Radovan is in the slipstream of Lagar. Lap 8, down and over the crest. Radovan going on the brakes. Really deep in the brakes, what's happening? Oh, Andy round. Andy's hit by Lagar. And that's going to put Andy at the back of the field. Ropsky's going to take advantage and get by Lagar as well, or is he? Hard to tell. No, Lagar is going to hold that one off, so that is a change of position all round. Radovan went down the inside of Lagar, took over 9th. Andy had spun, Radovan up to 8th. Ben takes over 9th. Lagar's still down to 10th. Ropsky up to 11th, and Andy drops all the way back down to 12th position. So mistake there from the Scotsman, spinning round at turn 1, and he has lost himself all 4 of those positions. A terrible mistake there, and that is not what he wanted to be doing. That is Raxer off track just as we cut back to the leaders. Don't know what happened there. We just cut back there, he's slightly off the track, so I don't know if he's just got it wrong through that different part of the circuit, but that has given Shadow a chance to just get away slightly. We can see Edu is now creating a bit of a train behind him. He has got the 44, but it looks like a Vida behind him, the 43 Slider behind him, and then Jim is at the tail of those one. Jim is in the slipstream here of Slider, looking for a way past, and so is Vida. Edu going to the extreme left hand side of the circuit trying to break the slipstream, but here comes the Slider gas, is the one up trying to get the side by side door mirror to door mirror. And the Spaniard's able to hold on this occasion. Good defending there. Good driving from both. They were right next to each other. And Jim's been able to get past Vida in the background as well. So that's a change in the background while we watch the one ahead. So 4th is Edu, 5th is Slider, 6th now is Jim, and down to 7th goes Vida. Changes all round. 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th in your screenshot. Edu drifting sideways, manages to hold it, but that is going to go, and they're bumping, and they're both off. Edu into the gravel on the wall, takes Slider with him as well. Radovan will be catching them before long if they don't get a move on. Didn't see quite what happened. Edu got sideways, Slider went from the outside. Don't know if Edu lost control again, but that cost both of them a couple of places. Just see if Edu has managed to get back on track ahead of Radovan. Yes, he has. So he is down to 7th, Radovan in 8th. And we're just going to try and pick up everyone else. Yep, there's Lager in 9th, Ropski's 10th. I think that's Ben in 11th, so Ben's lost a couple of places. Let's pick this up. Nope, that's Andy. In fact, Ben has lost a couple of places. He's now last in 12th, so Andy's now in 11th. Ropski 10th. And these two fighting all over again. But we are going back to the front of the field, because we are now at half distance, lap 10 of 20, halfway through the race. And it is still Shadow who's got the jump on the pole sitter down into turn 1. And he's been leading since the start, and these two have never really been more than about half a second to a second apart since the start of the race. And Rax has dropped back a bit since a small mistake around about the back end of the circuit a couple of laps ago, around about turn 12-13. So he is looking to try and make that ground back up. I think he will be able to do it. He's definitely quick enough. As they come plunging down the hill and back up the hill again, he is currently playing catch up to the championship leader. Last season's champion is currently in a bit of no man's land. 34 machine, Scooby G, 3rd place on his own. Around about 10 or so seconds back. He's got a good gap to those behind him as well, which is now led by Vida, I believe. Yes, indeed. No, sorry, Jim. Jim's ahead, so Jim's now up into 4th place, Vida in 5th. And I'll just see as they come over the hill. Then got Slider in 6th. And it'll be Edu in 7th, there we go. Radovan in 8th. And then NGR Lager in 9th. Ropski is 10th. Ben's back up to 11th, Andy back down to 12th, so in our pass we've not seen again because of the gaps not being there. Very hard to tell who's where and doing what on the track. And a good job as well that it's clicked back to the leaders, because that was millimetres between them as they come back up the hill towards turn 5 and 6 for the 11th time and into the left-hander. These two nose to tail one more time, setting laps in the 42s and the 43s. No one can really get close to them when they're setting laps in the 42s. In fact, the pole lap was a 41. Just a stunning lap time. You can see the leader there in the 8 machine getting sideways into turn 9. Samsung turn down the hill through turn 10. Craig Jones, which is so named after the Supersport bike rider Craig Jones, who passed away in Brands Hatch a number of years ago. It was named after him. And then into Portimao itself, and then turn 12 we cut across obviously the section there, and then turn 14 as it is Sagres, and then turn 15 is Galap. Although we take the cut-off, obviously, and that is the end of the lap. As come through the final corner, using a little bit of the AstroTurf runoff. Just fine, as long as you don't overuse it and abuse it. Raxer's got a bit of a run here on Shadow. Has he got enough of a slipstream? Is he good enough on the brakes to have a go into turn 1? Shadow sticking right to the white line, not he's too far back. Ooh, Shadow looked like he nearly got in a bit too deep there, but he managed to collect it all up nicely. He is away and off again. These two never too far apart. Rolling back through the field. Camera will pick itself at Urgot and slide. Is that 44 is Vida. He's back ahead of Jim, so that is 4th place. Vida ahead of Jim, and Jim sideways and late on the brakes into turn 1. So that's a pass once again that, due to the gaps we have missed, it's very, very frustrating that this happens. That's 2 races in a row. We had a number of races last season had done, but this happened as well, so very frustrating that we miss quite a bit of the action due to this. So Project Cars, please, can we find a fix for this? It's very frustrating. Thank you. So 4th now Vida, 5th Jim, trying to get back past because he was in 4th, remember. So he has lost that place. And we'll hold here for just a moment because I do get a feeling there may be a pass again here before long, but Vida's got a bit of a run, so if he gets through turn 11 here at the top of the hill, well, we might just start running through the field just to get an idea where everyone is. Yep, he's gone through there pretty well, so... No, he's not, he's off. Has he got it? No, he saved it. Just caught that as I skipped the camera angle, he was sideways. He managed to collect it up pretty well, but that's meant Jim is now a lot closer, but we will skip back through. Slider's lost a place to Radovan somewhere down the order, so Radovan moving up to 6th place. Now with Slider down to 7th, you can see Lager 8th, Edu's down to 9th now. So Edu falling back through the field. Not what he would have been wanting for sure. And then if we go a bit further back, we can find... There's Ben in 10th and Andy and Ropsky once again side by side through the corner there. Who's coming out on top? And it's the Scotsman that comes out on top, so we just got the end of that passing move. And the number 12 machine is back ahead of the number 7. You can see he's searching for the slipstream, but Edu falling back down the order after starting in 3rd. This was not the race that he would have been looking for. Absolutely was not at all. Ben into turn 1. And through there. And a bit sideways in the exit. And lap 13 now. This 20 lap race, so we're nearly 70% of the way through. Getting towards the closing stages. As Edu, he's off again on the grass. Managed to get back together. I'm surprised that that boy's not opened up a gardening business. Cuts more grass than anyone else I know. He's managed to get it back together. I'll just stick with the 29 for now. You see Radovan there. Slider at the bottom of the hill, so Lager, Edu, Ben, Andy's ran wide. Has Ropsky managed to get him? No, he has not. This is for 11th, 12th, so this is for the last 2 places in the field. You can just see Ben ahead in 10th. Andy throwing that JK Gloves car about. Fun fact for Andy, he actually drove the JK Gloves 55 Janetta GT3 in the AOR League last season as well. And there's Edu off again, Edu off. Edu off at the pit lane, going to jump to the chase cam, see what he's up to. He's parked And it was a shame to say that that was out of the race. He did park up after that and retire, and that was the Spaniard out of the race after that. So race retirement there for Edu, and we're back up to the front. And look at this, first and second. We'll take the interface off for a moment, just follow this. Try and keep the camera steady, but very difficult when it's moving. Back to trackside, there we go. Down the front straight, lap 15. 6 to go, down the hill, plunging down, hard on the brakes. Tight into the apex. Raxer seems more comfortable under the brakes, it must be said. He's looking again, pulls to the outside to try and get a run. Shadow's having to take the tighter line to defend. These two have never been too far apart, and yet with all the action going on through the field, we've not really looked at them. But that's just the way it goes in the V8s here in Next Gen. There's so much going on, you can never take your eyes off of anything going on through the entire field. They're coming up once again. We can see Scooby G coming out through 3 and 4 up toward turns 5 and 6. Sliders drop back behind Radovan. He's having a go. He's up the inside, late in the brakes. He's sideways, but he's corrected it. Managed to hold on to that one. Jim's back past Vida, so that's 4th and 5th. Radovan is 6th. Slider in 7th. We've got NGR Lager, I believe, is in 8th, with Ben 9th, Andy in 10th, Ropsky in 11th, Shockshaft looking in space, Whitford looking in space, and Edu somewhere in no man's land. So 11 runners on track from the 14 that started, but these two have pretty much been separated by a piece of rope for pretty much the entire race. Lap 16, 42.962, 42.882 for Raxer, so hundredths in it, less than a couple of hundredths in it. It's just the pace from these two has been relentless and it has been consistent. It's no surprise that these two are at the top of the championship. Spit of flame from the number 8 under braking and under change of gear, tight into the corner to try and just hold it up on the apex and get on the power. But Raxer's got a run here down towards turn 6. Shadow in the middle of the road defending. Raxer going for the inside, outside. Shadow holding the inside, and Raxer, are they going to touch? Nope. He's just holding them off. Good defending from the Irishman. Hard on the brakes. We are going to jump on board with the chaser. Look at that number 8 sliding. Second. Keeps it a second. And just holds it right up to the bumper, that number 8 machine. Up to 3rd. 4th gear, throws it in. Little lift just to help the turn in. You see Shadow having to dab the brakes there, keeps it in 4th. He's a bit of run off his side by side. He's alongside now. Here we go, this is a possible pass for the lead onto lap 17. Hard on the brakes, Shadow's got the inside line though. Raxer's going to try and cut back. Can he get a run? That's phenomenal defending from the championship leader, and again he just cuts him off, takes the inside line. Hard but fair. Unbelievable. Brilliant racing from these two. If it wasn't for my want to try and be fair to everybody, we would just stick with this and watch this all race, I'm sure. We want to cover everybody off. NGR Scooby is still in 3rd, I do know that. Jim Here we go, and the camera catches is sitting there in sliding through 4th place just at the moment still. There's the 44 machine of Vida in 5th. And there's Radovan as the camera catches up, skating his way through the chicane section. Slider's back ahead of him, so Slider 6th, Radovan 7th, Laggers in 8th. It'll be Ben. He's dropped a place by the looks of it. What's going on? We've got Andy up to 9th, okay. Yep, Andy's 9th. Ben's 10th and Ropsky in 11th, so there are a few changes of place. I think Ben's had a wee moment at some point. Back to the front, and these two once again up and over the hill. Back onto the front straight. Lap 18. 3 to go. Down the hill, hard on the brakes. You can see Shadow just takes an earlier turn into the apex. Seems to work for him. But it does mean that he's on the brakes a lot earlier. It looks like Raxor's got more apex speed through turn 1. You wonder if he's maybe doing that just to try and defend off the possibility of an attack from the number 28 car from behind. Last couple of laps, will Raxor have the chance to get through, or will Shadow take that 7-point lead and extend it to an 11-point lead over his championship rival? Only got 2.5 laps to go before we find out. Up the hill through Craig Jones, up to Puerto. Hard on the brakes, you got a little kink there, and then you got the proper corner itself, down to 2nd or 3rd gear depending on preference. Very easy to get that wrong, the brakes. You can easily go wide, you can easily brake too soon. And through this tricky bit up the hill, and that part there, that second part is so easy to beat, it's so deceptive. You can easily think it is shallow, and it's a lot tighter than it looks. This part's really, really quick. I know we can't quite see the first part. And this part here, to try and keep it on the track, Raxor using the runoff again. Although it will be helping to keep a bit of speed, there's always a added danger because of the curbing that he can actually cause himself some damage to his time, and he could cause the car to spin. 2 to go though, penultimate lap, lap 19 of 20. We'll do one more quick run through the field. Scooby's in 3rd, we won't go through there, sorry Scooby. Jim 4th. Got Vida there in 5th. Slider coming through 6th, there's Radovan 7th. NGR Lager coming down the hill, 8th place in his return to the championship so far. Will he stay there till the end? He'll be hoping so. He is in 8th at the moment. There's Andy in 9th. Ben chasing him down 10th. Ropsky's back there in 11th. He's had a wee spin as well somewhere, so he's dropped off the pace. So the two sort of there's, oh, and Andy's round. Dropped it through the middle section. Ben is on his way. And that is 10th, 9th and 10th. And Ben will be through for that one. Andy just dropping it on his way through, but we're going to go back to the lead pair as they come up to start their final lap in just a moment's time. But that's where Andy lost it. He just dropped it, caught the grass, spun round. Here we go, one last time, one last chance for Raxor. Can he do it? He's in every bit of the track and a wee bit more, but it's not proved enough yet. Here we go, final lap here at the Algarve circuit. Hard on the brakes, Shadow going in early once again. That chicane part there is as tight as anything. Insert pun joke here somewhere. Shadow looking like sideways. You can see the wheels turning left then right then left as he corrects everything. And one more time, lovely drone shots as they come up to the next corner. Hard on the brakes. This is tricky as well. It's downhill slightly halfway through the corner. It's easy enough to just the front to go light and just the back to then go light and just cross it up. Quick left hand up and then hard on the brakes. Use the curb to help you turn in. Try and get up the power early. You need it for going up and down the hill. Over the crest. 5th gear through there, really quick. Try and keep it flat. And then on the brakes, little kink, and then the proper part. You can see Ropsky up ahead. One more time, here we go. As long as Shadow's able to keep his braking right, it looks like Raxer's lost his chance. Unless he can get a really good run out of this last corner. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything, he's too far back. These last 2 corners are a bit too fast. So it looks like it's going to be a 2nd win in a row for the number 8 machine. As they come up to the line, it is the number 8, it is a WRT Shadow who takes the win just from the number 28 machine of Boy Raxer. Those two side by side for the entire duration of the race. Fantastic racing from both. They go back a little bit to find the 3rd place next one on the podium, and it is the defending champion Scooby G. A pretty lonely race, as you can see the stranded car Edu there in the pit lane. And he comes across the line to take 3rd place, but he is slowly losing a little bit of grip on that championship that he took so easily last season. 4th place over the line, here comes Jim in the number 1 machine, followed by the number 44 car of Vida. Flashing the lights from Jim, so that's 4th and 5th over. We've got just a little bit further back to the 43 machine. There he is, you can just see him in the corner of the screen. That's Slider Gas taking 6. Radovon 7th, he'll be happy with that after the disappointment of Fuji last time round. We head back a wee bit further and we find the number 33 machine of NGR Lager on his return. 8th place for him. He will be pretty chuffed with that, I am sure. And then a wee bit further back still we find the number 38 car of Ben Sully coming through the final couple of corners. He takes 9th place, taking it very easily. There's no point, no one ahead to catch, no one too far behind. He takes home 9th place. Ropsky is going to take home 10th place. And Andy's already through, so actually Andy took home 9th, Ben in 10th, and Ropsky in 11th. So there we are. That was 20 laps of Algarve in the V8 Supercar Championship. And it was a win once again for the number 8 machine, WRT Shadow. So there it is on screen, your final results from the race, and it is, as I said there at the end of the commentary, a 2nd win in a row for WRT Shadow as he extends his championship lead over Boy Raxer. Coming into the race, it was 147 points to Shadow, 140 to Raxer. Going out of it, it's 187 to 176 now, so 11 points now the difference between the two of them. And as you can see on the fastest lap screen, both of them managed to do 141.6s, and no one else was able to do a 141. The next was 142.0 from Scooby, who got close, and everyone else was a 43 or slower. So it just shows you the pace that these two have up front, and phenomenal pace from them indeed. And they were by far and away clear, only 8 times between them at the end, and it was pretty much that distance between them for pretty much the entire length of the race. Scooby is still in 3rd in the championship at 144, but he's now obviously 43 points behind, so he's now a full race win and a pole position behind. You get 40 points in a standard race for a win and 2 points for a pole position, so he is now a whole race and a pole position behind Shadow at the top, so he's got a lot to do to be able to catch that back up. Edu is still in 4th, but his distance between him and fifth place, which is Jim, has been changed dramatically. It's now 10 points when going into it was 30 points. So that DNF there for the Spaniard, not good at all. And we've got a new driver into 6th place. At the start of the race it was Whitford on 60, but it's now Vidicas in 6th place now on 70 points. But you can see the rest of the drivers there that finished in the top 10. Ropsky was in 11th and Eddie was classified as a DNF for completing 13 laps in 12th. Disconnections unfortunately to Whitford and Shockshaft from the original 14 runners. Next race next week is the final one before the season break. It is in Barcelona. Now, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be competing next week, so I don't know if I'll be able to bring you the recording, but if I am competing, I will bring you the recording as I normally can do, but if not, I will be back very soon with the next race where possible. The Bathurst race in a couple of weeks' time is possibly likely to be live on the NXTGEN YouTube channel if it's the same as last week, so if that is the case, do subscribe to them as well and you will get notification if that race is live. That is an extended enduro race and is worth double points, and of course is the home of V8 Supercars. But that is it from the Autodromo Internazionale do Algarve in the south of Portugal. My name is Andy. If you have liked this video, do hit the like button, do subscribe as well. As I said previous, I have now broke the 50 subscriber barrier, so it'd be onwards and upwards to 100. I'd love for you to be a part of that as well, so do hit subscribe to see more content. But until my next video, I'll see you again soon. Ta-ra.